Welcome to Make Lemonade Podcast with John Jimenez. I am a filmmaker slash creator, and I decided to make this podcast because I want to share what I have learned through my life lessons and other people's experience. If this is your first time here, welcome. Make Lemonade is about what we learn through life lessons. So, if you like to listen to a podcast as you drive or go for a run, you like to learn through other people's experience, or want to gain wisdom through tips and life lessons, then you are in the right place. So let us go on this journey together and discover life full lessons from remarkable people like Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, Albert Einstein, you, me, and much more. Welcome to Make Lemonade Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to Make Lemonade Podcast, or in other words, MLP. And that is just a little acronym that I just came up with just recently, but I really like it. MLP just makes sense. So I am John Jimenez. I am your host for Make Lemonade Podcast, MLP. And today I wanted to talk about something really close and dear to my heart, and I wanted to title this podcast Living on Weaknesses and Strength. And so let's get into it. Here we go. Today I want to share what I have learned through my human weaknesses and built on my strength. For most, weaknesses is something we try to avoid due to the lack of its success and derailing. Some, on the other hand, I dare to say, more than 80% of humans would rather confine within their space of strength. Of course, this is not proven, just a spectacle observation of my part. However, I have discovered that both of these subjects are more harmonious, successful, than they would ever have been apart. Furthermore, I will explain 3 points. 1. Learning through weakness. 2. The act of strength through action and failure. And lastly, orchestrating both strength and weaknesses. Okay, so point number 1, learning through weaknesses. If there's one thing I have learned is that weakness can only reveal what you need and don't have. When I was in high school, I played varsity soccer 4 years in a row. Ask me how I did this. Well, it wasn't easy, but I did have a map set up for me. And by a map, I mean I had my 2 older brothers playing varsity, and I had been playing soccer since I could walk. As a freshman in varsity soccer, I wanted to play forward to make goals, but the coach saw me playing defense instead because I could control the ball best and was fast. So I thought, the truth be told, I did not have the sufficient skills to play first line forward and needed more experience. At the time, I was not happy, but I loved the game and playing is all I wanted to do. The ironic thing was that I felt that defense was my weakness and I would not learn anything, and it was a waste of my talent. Granted, we did have 2 very good forwards, one being my brother. However, playing defense taught me a great lesson that would later help me in the next 2 years as captain, but most importantly, life. See, weakness is a time to observe and study your opponent, thus allowing you to strike at the right time. So, when I would play defense against another team or opponent, I would allow myself to make multiple mistakes and let my opponent believe that they were better than me. On the contrary, I was studying their every move, and when the right time came, I would strike unexpectedly and unnoticed, leaving my opponent confused and lost. So, if you ever find yourself in a point of weakness, say to yourself, I am strong. Because you have discovered what you need and don't have, giving the best plan of defense in life. Point number 2, the act of strength through action and failure. Now, strength is an easy topic to talk about, but in my observation, I have noticed one thing that some lack: the act of action and failure. What does this mean exactly? Well, it means that many people have the brute strength to accomplish greatness, but don't act or take action on what they want to do. What is the cause of this? Well, there are many reasons. For example, pride, arrogance, naive, and fear itself. But there is a root that I have discovered that gives life to all these subjects, and that's the lack of knowledge. Knowledge, you say? I know, it's kind of unusual, but let me explain. When a human lacks the knowledge of a subject, they are blind to the fact that it exists, meaning that if you never have talked about it or heard of such things, it is as if it was never created or existed in the first place. So, how does one know and take action towards their strength? Here is my discovery. Tests. Let me give you an analogy. When metal is tested for its strength, it is put through 3 types of tension tests that will determine 1, how strong the metal is until it's plastically deforming, meaning a change of shape. 2, its max strength after the plastically deformation, again, change of shape. And 3, the remaining strength of the metal until its breaking point. Of course, credit for the information about metal testing goes to Metal Supermarket. If you have any more questions about metals, go to metalsupermarket.com. And of course, this is not a sponsorship. So, what does that mean for us? Well, it is very simple. 1, the knowledge of strength comes from the tests we have in our lives, meaning that many times in our lives we have been tested by people, projects, circumstances, and ourselves. 2, through those tests, we have come to know how much pressure one can take until they start changing or ultimately fail. I said that really wrong. I meant we have come to know how much pressure one can take until they start changing and ultimately fail. That's the beauty of strength. You see, many of us are afraid to take action because we think we're going to fail and don't bet on our strengths, when in reality, we should bet on our strengths and expect to fail because ultimately that's what strength will succumb to in the end. Remember these 2 quotes. There are no secrets to success. It is the results of preparation, hard work, and learning from failure, from Colin Powell. And words from Abraham Lincoln. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. And lastly, point number 3, orchestrating both strengths and weaknesses. Lastly, we come to how do we orchestrate both our strength and weaknesses. You see, in our world, we have been arguing for peace, equality, respect, race, etc. This is something that we have been fighting over for years, and maybe not in the same topic, but well versed in the same concept. And as difficult of a plan to solve all the chaos, I have seen a place that brings many difficulties, but effective results. And that is humility. A place where we see a low view of one's importance, lack of pride, lack of vanity. This is the place where the harmony of strength and weakness can work together and become one, creating a balance between both worlds. So, in summary, learning through weaknesses means that it reveals what you need and don't have, thus giving you the ability to study and learn from your opponent to strike at the right time. Secondly, the act of strength through action and failure. Many of us are afraid to take action because we think we're going to fail, thus neglecting to bet on our strengths. When in reality, we should venture on our strengths and expect to fail because ultimately that's what strength will succumb to in the end. It is only through testing our strength to failure that we will discover our true strength and potential to succeed. Lastly, to orchestrate the difficulty of our weakness and strength, it takes great humility to harmonize and create the perfect balance between both worlds. This is what I have learned through my human strength and weaknesses, applying them daily. I have studied these two subjects for more than 10 years and continue to practice and research to grasp the essence and comprehension to enable me to share them with you, the audience. There are 3 things I keep close to my heart: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Because it has dawned to me, to my realization, that they will keep my life decision in the straight and narrow path, doing good to all humanity. It is my passion to keep growing, and so I hope it has inspired you to do the same. I leave you with this. With weakness comes strength, and with strength comes weakness. Together, they are strong and accountable, but separate, strength can become vanity, and weakness without grace becomes destructive. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. This is your host, John Jimenez, signing out, and I'll be talking to you later. Peace.